We have got a heck of a show planned for you guys tonight. We are talking about MATW Wrestling at the J coming up this weekend. It's going to be
Let's see you
Saturday.
live from the DMV area back in Fairfax. I'm excited for it. Hey, what's up, Ron?
Why would you interrupt me though? Like,
Because
I
because
get
it's
it.
fun. Because it's fun.
I don't know, man. I don't think it's very professional. I don't think it's very professional, but that's just my opinion. Look, I'm still trying to adjust stuff from being gone. You know,
Mhm.
we were on the road and we had all this gimmick out there with us. But man, MATW live
They,
at the J.
man, they've
Wrestling at
been
the J.
blowing up, man. The last show was incredible. There's some aftermath. Um, I have the poster up. I sent you the poster. The
That
rest
I
of
had.
the for some reason, I guess you know how Facebook's been lately. But there it is, ladies and gentlemen. Rhett Titus, O'Shea Edwards, the current MATW heavyweight champion, Doug Delicious. We have C.W. Anderson and Preston Quinn, Chase Emery, your boy, Blade Brown, and Ace Montana, plus a bunch of other matches. This is going to be a fantastic show.
Look, Chase is a phenomenal wrestler. I wouldn't say that he's my boy. I mean,
Well, I mean, you know him because he's done a lot of shows in your neck of
yeah,
the woods.
we've done
Let me
we've
rephrase that.
done a lot of shows together.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, you're good. I'm not saying anything negative about the guy. I just, there's nothing wrong with the guy. He's a good wrestler,
He's a damn good performer.
very good wrestler. I was like, the my boy thing's a bit odd. I mean, I talk to everybody. You've seen that now, especially with us working together. You've seen that. I mean, Chase isn't a man of many words, really. Not at all. So I don't really
But in
talk
that ring,
Chase
he is
doesn't really
quite the
talk.
competitor. But let's get Todd on here. Let's bring
Okay.
him on. Let's talk a little bit about the shows here and the matchups.
Hey, what's
run
happening,
down
sir?
what's gonna happen.
Hey, what's going on, guys?
How are you?
Hey Todd.
I'm good. Thanks for having me back.
Hey, not a problem.
It's always a pleasure, man. These shows are just getting
here.
better and better and better.
Hopefully that's the goal. That's our Mid-Atlantic goal and our Fairfax goal. So hopefully we're going better and better, bigger and better.
Yeah, see, I'll be up there later this month. I unfortunately won't be up there this weekend.
Well, okay.
My bad.
We'll be back. I mean, we're making, Fairfax is becoming one of our regular towns. It's been a slow process just building it. We started out slower than we would have liked, but we've continued to grow every time. And my goal ideally is to be able to run Fairfax at least every other month. So yeah, we'll be back this fall, a time or two for sure. So another surprise maybe thrown in there.
If I get a good advance on that date, I will do what I can to try to make it up there for it. Because I mean, I can crash right there. I got a spot. Where is that at? It's over off of 7.
Yeah, and I'm off a Little River, so it's not big deal.
We've got at least 1 or 2 shows that we'll announce at the show Saturday night. So I'll hit you
some surprises
already.
You know. All right.
Hey, I appreciate that, man.
We got to tease a little, right?
Most of my family would come from Maryland instead to hang out in Virginia because they don't like Maryland. So,
well, that's a Northern Virginia thing right there. No
one
likes
sure
Maryland. Except for the wrestling fans in Maryland. We welcome them to come across the river to Virginia to see some great pro wrestling. So,
oh yeah,
you want storylines and continuity and something to get invested in. Come on and check us out.
Yes,
definitely.
I think that's the meat and potatoes of it for me. Is a good storyline, a good continuity. Great action is great action, but you can watch the Fast and the Furious. You can watch Die Hard. You can watch John Wick. Which one's got the best story?
That's one of the top things that people tell us when they check us out is like, whoa, there's like continuity here and there's storylines and everything is for a reason and this makes sense. And we have fans that are starting to follow us around from week to week and town to town because they want to see what the next step in a storyline is or what the fallout of something they saw last week was or something like that. And so it's a pretty awesome thing to know that we have a fan base that's growing that will travel around to see us. And so that said, we want to continue to grow in each of our little towns we go to, with Fairfax being one of them. We did really well last time. Like I said, this is our 4th show in Fairfax since last July. So in a year, 12 months now, this is our 4th show. And we've taken a step forward with each. We took a big step forward last time, and I'm fairly confident we're going to do another one this Saturday night. And so,
yeah, it seems like every time you guys are having a show, it just gets bigger and bigger. The crowd gets more.
Every town we go to is like that.
Yeah.
I mean, it's every single town we go to, it just grows. And which one were you guys at?
I was at the first one.
The first one. Okay. Are you planning on coming this week?
Working on it. Yep.
Okay.
Plus, I was actually going to talk to Ron, trying to get some of the equipment.
I'm doing a charity event Saturday, so that's no bueno.
Yeah, but you were saying, Todd?
You'll notice a big difference, just in the growth of the promotion and the crowd and just everything, from the first show to this one coming up on Saturday. So.
Very cool. Speaking of this Saturday, what do we have on tap? Was there individual match pictures anywhere?
There
individual match graphics?
There is. I don't know if I sent those to you guys.
I thought I forwarded them over to Ron, but I trying to look it up so I can upload them, but I don't have them on here for some reason. I'm looking through the Facebook page. I see the poster, the main poster.
They're on the Facebook page. If you check the Wrestling at the J group, they're on there. Worst case scenario, I can text them to you right now.
That would probably be for the best.
Let me do that real quick. We're gonna work on the fly here. So let me.
Actually, I got it right here. If you like, I can upload it right now. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So usually my backup is just pull that up.
Me.
I got you.
Just send them to me. Don't do the ad screen trash, please. It looks abysmal. It's
it's not paint.
It's not that bad, you're right, but it's still abysmal. The image quality and clarity goes down, so it looks to me I would prefer not.
I certainly can run through the matches with you guys. We got a couple of guys joining us this evening that are on the show. It is
a stacked card.
It's the biggest show we brought to Fairfax. And it's kind of a 1-2 punch. We had a really big show last weekend down in Yorktown, our Great American Bash. It was called Scars and Stripes, which we had feuds blown off there and just kind of culminating, and it was a stacked show. But this is kind of 1B. Last week and this week together are probably the 2 biggest shows we've ever had. And so,
there was actually some aftermath. I actually saw the post earlier. O'Shea Edwards coming in and cleaning the house. Actually,
so O'Shea has been on 1 or 2 of the early Fairfax shows. He was on there. He lives somewhat local. He's over in Maryland. He's probably about an hour away from the venue here in Fairfax. I've always been a fan of his work, not necessarily his personality.
Oh hell no! I love his personality.
I should say that
the man he means business. He means business.
Yeah. Coming from the standpoint of a referee, he can be a bit to handle sometimes in the ring. But as a wrestler, there's no denying his skill set. And when I started promoting Fairfax and helping put the show together here, which I've been fortunate to have a hand in doing, he was someone that I said, I want this guy on our show here. And so he was on a couple of shows and was not available for others after that or other shows for MATW because he had other things planned. He was going to Europe, and he was on tour in Europe. I was able to get him booked for Saturday night show, and he was on tour in Europe up until just before the Saturday night show.
He's a busy guy. He gets around.
Apparently, he didn't want to wait until Saturday night to appear at the JCC in Fairfax. he wanted to make a name for himself on the biggest stage of MATW. And what he chose to do was, just point blank, he decided to enter through the crowd. And I didn't know, but I had heard reports that he actually was kind of lurking in the back corner of the arena watching the action, and picked his time, which happened to be at the end of a leather strap match between Ace Montana and MATW. And he hopped the barricade, hopped in the ring, and he took out Ace Montana. And so I don't know what his reasoning was for that, other than the fact that he just wanted to kind of kickstart things. And I think he has a desire to make MATW maybe his home here stateside.
Can't blame him.
He wasn't.
And I think we have picture of that after picture. Anyways, you can actually see he's quite enjoying himself. Look at that, having a good old time, just cleaning up.
He didn't do himself any favors with the fan base either. Ace Montana is probably the most popular wrestler in MATW, and he had just gotten through with his match. Crowd was on their feet chanting for him and cheering for him, and out of nowhere, O'Shea hopped the barricade. And so,
well, let's go to the card real quick, and then we'll get his words about the incident and about this weekend.
We can do that. Yeah.
All right. Well, like I say, we already talked about this 6-man tag you got here.
So this is one of our I guess co-main events, possibly. That's how I look at it. It's actually the semi-main event. Big 6-man tag match. I didn't realize when we signed this match the kind of intensity that would be flowing through the match when it actually came to fruition in Fairfax.
I mean, that is a lot of big personalities there, man.
Well, you have Ace Montana there, who is, like I said, arguably one of the biggest personalities in MATW. Super huge fan favorite, most popular wrestler probably. And you have probably the two who are right there with him as far as popularity goes, two of the fastest rising young stars, and not just in MATW, but in all of wrestling. You got Blade Brown and Chase Emery, who just was wrestling in the main event of last weekend's Scars and Stripes match, challenging Doug Delicious for the MATW heavyweight title. Came out a little short on that one, but these three guys, you're not going to find a more popular or beloved trio of guys than that. And then you have the Extreme Horsemen there, who are the KG veterans. In my opinion, no disrespect to any other tag teams in MATW, they're the best tag team you're going to find around. And they could go in any promotion, and I'm talking big promotions on national television, and hold their own in the ring. They're teaming up with O'Shea. We've talked about O'Shea. We've talked about Ace. It adds a new dynamic to this match, and this is going to be a war.
Yes, it is. It's going to be quite the interesting matchup here to see these two teams clash. Then we have next up on the card, we have Spencer Slade versus Party McFly.
So Spencer Slade is another guy who was on some of the earlier MATW shows, and he has been occupied since then primarily with wrestling in the NWA. He's been there, but he has wanted to get his foot back in the door at MATW. He hasn't been around for a while, and we're not just a typical independent wrestling promotion who will say, hey, you know what, we've got an opening, let's bring someone in and let's put matches together. So while there's been a desire to come back, there hasn't necessarily been an opportunity to come back. Having said that, we had a spot open up last minute, and he became available last minute, and so he's coming back. So the long-awaited, much-anticipated return of Spencer Slade will be in Fairfax, the first time in several months that he's been in an MATW ring. And he's taking on Party McFly, who is another up-and-coming wrestler who I'm actually really, really proud of. He came in at the beginning of the promotion as a young guy, and he has really dedicated himself and focused and committed to improving himself and hitting the gym and working out, and he has improved dramatically as a wrestler. And he keeps coming off a big win probably the biggest win of his career this past Saturday. He actually had a taped fist match against Reggie Collins, which was originally supposed to be this Saturday in Fairfax, but there was a scheduling conflict with Collins. He couldn't make it, so he moved it up a week to Scars and Stripes. Those two of them had a match on our last show in Fairfax, and fans, and you guys may or may not know, but in that match, Party McFly got a little carried away and inadvertently busted open Reggie Collins, and that sparked a little bit of a feud between the two of them that they've taken all across the territory. That culminated in the tape fist match last week that Party McFly was victorious in, and so
you gotta also kind of take consideration. This is a big deal for Party McFly coming back, and
he's
going against a big
kid.
Hometown hero going up against somebody who's making the return. He might have the advantage here, but that's for later conversation for later on.
That's going to
for
be
our predictions.
Fast-paced match there for sure.
Yes, it is.
I'm looking forward to seeing that.
Speaking of fast pace, we got Manny Lowe versus Phoenix Fury.
Absolutely. Manny Lowe is a guy who actually got the biggest win of his MATW career this past weekend as well. He wrestled Blade Brown, who was on a trajectory to the stars. Yeah. And I don't know what happened, if he slipped on a banana peel or what, but Manny Lowe defeated Blade Brown this past Saturday via pinfall at Scars and Stripes. And so he is another guy who's looking to move up the rankings of MATW. And this is actually going to be our opening match of the night. He's going to be taking on Phoenix Fury, who will be debuting in MATW.
What a way to start things off.
A long time. And I'm a big fan of as well. And this is going to be fans that are coming are not going to want to be late. Let's put it that way, because this is what's kicking things off. And this is going to be a barn burner right here.
And that's a great way to start things off. You're already setting the bar here for the rest of the night, and that's going to bring in the energy, and it's going to be quite the high intensity matchup, knowing these two. So that's going to be fun.
And so I'll interject one thing, and I'm sure we'll circle back around and talk to this as we go on a little bit this evening here. The kind of elephant in the room for this show is the fact that the wrestling world recently lost Dirty Money. Dirty Money. Wow. Hometown guy, most popular wrestler around here. He originally was scheduled to be in the main event of this show prior to his injury. And then following his injury, following his surgery, a replacement was named. And then it was announced literally the day before his passing that he was going to be in Fairfax, his first public appearance since being injured. And he was going to address the crowd, and he was going to be in at ringside for the main event. We are very aware of the unfortunate news that came down with his passing. We know that this show is going to have a different spirit and vibe to it because of that. We are, just doing our best to come out and pay tribute and respect to him and give it our all and kick it up a notch. Which is what he did every time he performed anywhere in wrestling. So we're coming out just to pay tribute to him on this show. It's not a Dirty Money memorial show. It's nothing like that. But it's going to be dedicated in his memory and his honor. And there will be a 10-bell salute, and we will have to announce his passing at the start of the show, because I'm sure there may be someone there who's not aware of that. And so it was important for us, after we get through that necessary stuff, to have a good back and forth, fast-paced, action-packed opening match, because it can be hard for some of the fans to get hit with that emotion and of what has happened, and then kind of get ramped back up to get into the swing of things and into the action. And so that was a very carefully selected opening match for the fans here. And we hope that it is a positive experience, and that people can remember and honor and pay tribute to Dirty Money, who we're going to miss. But I think he would want nothing more than for everyone who's there to blow the roof off the joint and have a good time as if he was there with us, because I know he'll be there in spirit with us. So,
yeah. He had such an impact. He was such a cool guy.
Great guy.
Yeah.
always positive.
All right. And next matchup on the card, Black Wall Street versus Tar Dynasty.
All right,
Some tag team action.
Tar Dynasty. Yeah, so Black Wall Street made their MATW debut at the last show. And they actually came up on the short end of the stick. But they were very impressive. They made a good impression on a lot of people there, both in the crowd and in the locker room. And so it was important to have them come back and be in the ring once again here in Fairfax. And so they're going to be taking on two members of the Tar Dynasty. It's Aiden Chambers on the left and Dustin Tar on the right. Should be a great tag match. There's no promotion out there anywhere that has a tag roster as deep as MATW or that features tag team wrestling the way Mid-Atlantic Territory Wrestling does. And so these are two great tag teams, and it's going to be a great match. And for people out there who are fans of tag team wrestling, they're certainly going to be entertained and dig this match right here.
It's going to be awesome. All right. And then we have some singles action. I know both of these.
Yes.
Both these competitors, both can go. Both have quite the, I want to say, run that they're going on right now in the North Carolinas, Florida, and beyond. And they have quite the ferocity. And the fact that they're going together, going against each other this matchup this weekend is going to be really interesting to see.
So this is actually a return match that was ordered by MATW. The two women here squared off a month or so ago in Elkton, Virginia, which is south of Harrisonburg, and had a phenomenal match. But it ended, not a little abruptly, maybe we'll say. And so a return match has been ordered, and it was awarded or given or assigned by MATW officials for Fairfax. And so Amanda wrestled there last show, which was actually the first women's match ever on an MATW house show. Awesome. And she's not, I wouldn't say she's a fan favorite, but she is very well respected by the fans and especially in Fairfax. And so a lot of fans had asked about her and inquired about her coming back. And so we were looking at, a way to do that. And then with the match they had last month and with the return match being warranted, we thought there's no better place than to put it in Fairfax here. So that's going to be a great match. Those are two great female wrestlers. I have mixed feelings with lots of things in wrestling, but I think sometimes women wrestlers will get stuck on shows almost as like eye candy or something, and they're not the best wrestlers. These two women here can go, and they are going to show every single person in Fairfax what they're made of, and it's going to be one of the best matches of the night. I mean, they're gonna tear it up.
I mean, we've been around them for a little over a year at this point.
Yep.
And I'm going to tell you that both of those women can go big time, and they've both put the work in. So
they do. They put in the work, and they're professionals.
You will see them on TV.
I want to say one last thing about Amanda. She is a rare breed when it comes to, she can do anything in wrestling, and she does it very well. I recently had a match a couple weeks ago, and she was managing, and she did a phenomenal job as a manager. One of the probably one of the best managerial jobs I've ever seen or been a part of in wrestling. It was unbelievable. She's kind of like the Sherry Martel of MATW, right? She can wrestle, she can manage, she can do it all. She even appeared in the as the only woman in the 20-person Revolution Rumble Battle Royal last week. She surprised everyone and entered into that, and so she can hold her own against anyone. So
I remember distinctly. I ran into her at WrestleCade this last year, and I remember having a conversation with her because I was at a seminar as a guest, and she was at a seminar as talent. And I remember talking to her outside, and I was like, "There's one thing that's been bothering me, and I've got to tell you before I forget, because I'm one of those people. If I don't tell you, I'm not going to remember, and I'm going to be pissed that I forgot it." Her promos and her quality of vignette that she was filming and producing, going into these shows that she was doing, evolved light years so quickly.
Mhm.
I'm talking like 4 to 6 months. It went from it was already cool, and it was like out of this world. I was like, that's the fastest I've ever seen anybody stick a promo and hold it.
There's an it factor there with her. I mean,
Yes,
she just gets it. You know, she's one of those people that when it comes to wrestling, whatever she takes on trying to do, she does well.
100%.
And this will be probably my third time I see them clash, so it's gonna be an amazing matchup, guaranteed. So the main event, ladies and gentlemen, this is gonna be electric. Doug Delicious defending his championship against Rhett Titus.
Yeah. Doug is the reigning and defending inaugural MATW heavyweight champion. He won a one-night tournament back in January, and has held that title and successfully defended it night in and night out all across Virginia and the Carolinas since that time. A lot of people thought that he had met his match in Chase Emery and was going to be dethroned last Saturday, but he walked out victorious. And he is one of those guys. He's a little older than everyone. He's got more experience than everyone else, and he may not be the fastest or the strongest or the biggest or whatever, but he may very well be the smartest and the most experienced guy. And he is just a cagey veteran that people don't like, but they respect. And it's kind of like he'll get a victory and people are like, damn it. But I get it. Like, he's good. It's Doug Delicious.
Oh, yeah. Can you blame him? You just said it yourself. Like, he has that veteran mindset. You know, he's going to use that experience to his advantage. And it just goes to shows that he was the right man for the job to become champion and bring some prestige and some legitimacy behind that belt.
And I've known him for probably I've known for probably 15 years. And he is the best, hands down, that he has been in the time that I've known him. He is so on right now. It's unbelievable to watch. And it's, I sit there and I watch him and I marvel, and I'm like, no one is as good as he is right now. No one is as good on the microphone cutting a promo or doing an interview as he is right now. I mean, he is just so good, and he's going to join us tonight. And I don't need to tell you how good he is, because I'm sure he'll probably tell you how good he is.
Oh yeah, he probably will. But
I'm not going to sell his opponent short at all in this, because I was working an event with Rhett Titus either earlier this year or late last year. I don't quite remember when. We were in Charlotte or Monroe, North Carolina. It's been a bit, but I remember watching Rhett, and I was sitting there like, imagine that I've seen 1,000 matches in person.
Yep.
At this point, I've announced hundreds of shows, so I've seen thousands of these. When I see a match that takes me back to that fan that was a 5-year-old kid sitting in the floor, picking chips up off the carpet, watching wrestling, that's where Rhett Titus put me there.
Yeah.
There are 2 matches that have done it. One was Rhett's. And the other one I'm not going to name.
So good. Like,
fantastic.
I mean, he's wrestled around the world. He's been on television. He's on national television right now. I mean, he's so good. And again, this is a match that was supposed to be Dirty Money's shot at his hometown in front of his hometown fans and family and friends. And due to the tragedy that struck, obviously that's not happening. And we thought, like, my gosh, like, who can we get that can come in any way? I don't want to say fill dirty shoes, but at least be someone who it doesn't look like a disappointment when we put him in the ring, to take his spot. And he actually had a hand in helping figure out who we got. And a lot of people may not know, but Rhett's wrestled a handful of MATW shows. He's very busy. He's very traveled. People see him like on Ring of Honor and sometimes on AEW, and he wrestles all over the place. But when he can, he's done a handful of shows for us. He did one in Richmond, and he did one over in the Northern Neck, and so he's been around, and he certainly is a top contender. And so he was kind of the natural person to slide into that main event spot. And I'm really, really eager to see these are two main event wrestlers and two experienced veterans. I'm curious to see how their styles will work together, how they'll clash. What will Rhett be the one that defeats Doug Delicious?
I think he might be, out of all the competitors, might be the one who actually has a chance. But we'll get into that in our predictions.